Why do men keep falling for the same trap, believing women are naturally pure, virtuous, and above reproach, only to find themselves outmatched, confused, or hurt? What if this assumption isn't just naive, but a flaw that makes men weaker when living alongside women every day? Society paints women as the morally superior sex, a comforting story that men buy into at their own peril. Through Nietzsche's lens, this belief becomes a crippling illusion, one that leaves men defenseless against women's full humanity. By seeing women as capable of both good and evil, men can break free from this myth of purity and step into interactions with strength and clarity. Nietzsche, the philosopher who tore apart illusions, warned us, in love, woman is a perfect actress. He wasn't just being poetic, he was pointing to a truth men often miss. Women, like men, are driven by raw instincts and complex motives, not the angelic purity society assigns them. When men cling to this fantasy of women's moral high ground, they weaken themselves, stumbling blindly into relationships and daily life, unprepared for what's really at play. Men are conditioned to see women as morally untouchable, gentle, honest, inherently good. This belief doesn't just put women on a pedestal, it strips men of their defenses. In romance, friendships, or even family life, men lower their guard, expecting virtue where complexity exists. Ever been stunned by a woman's sharp words or cold calculation? That shock comes from the gap between the myth you believed and the reality you faced. Living with women, whether as partners, colleagues, or kin, becomes a minefield when men assume moral superiority. They trust too easily, forgive too quickly, or bend too far, all because they don't expect ambition, deceit, or selfishness. This blindness makes men vulnerable, turning everyday interactions into losses they don't even see coming. Picture the guy who's always apologizing, always chasing approval. He's not weak because she's strong. He's weak because he's deluded. That delusion carves a hole where his spine should be, leaking strength he didn't know he lost. Blind trust isn't peace, it's surrender. Nietzsche's will to power runs through everyone, women included. But while men might flex it openly, women's power often hides behind a smile, a tear, or a well-timed silence. Men, dazzled by the myth of purity, mistake these moves for kindness or fragility. In reality, they're being outmaneuvered, left scrambling to keep up in a game they don't even know they're playing. Sound familiar? This illusion doesn't just sting in big moments. It wears men down daily. At home, a man might cede control to keep the peace, assuming her motives are noble. At work, he might defer to her judgment, thinking she's above pettiness. Each time he's handing over power, not out of respect, but out of ignorance. The cost? A life where he's perpetually one step behind, wondering why he feels so powerless. Those small surrenders stack up, building a cage he calls comfort. It's not living, it's fading, one concession at a time. Most men would rather believe women are naturally better, more compassionate, more ethical, because it's easier than facing the mess of reality. Nietzsche would call this laziness. Women aren't saints or villains. They're people, just like you. Clinging to the purity myth doesn't protect you. It keeps you weak, a pawn in a dynamic you refuse to understand. This comforting lie not only blinds men to the truth, but also traps women in a pedestal prison, stripping them of their authentic complexity. It's a delusion that stifles both, keeping reality at arm's length. Imagine interacting with women without the fog of assumed goodness. You'd see their strengths and their flaws, their kindness and their cunning, all in focus. Living with them wouldn't feel like walking on eggshells or chasing a ghost. It'd be real, raw, and equal. Nietzsche's view doesn't tear women down. It lifts men up, out of delusion and into awareness. If you're done being blindsided, if you're ready to stop weakening yourself with fairy tales about women's nature, this is your moment. See them as they are, human, complex, capable of anything, and watch how your world changes. Drop the myth of women's moral high ground, and everything snaps into focus. Every conversation, every choice, every connection gets clearer, truer. You'll lose the comfort of illusion, but you'll gain the power of reality. Are you ready to stop sleeping through your own life? What's your take? Comment below and subscribe for more unfiltered dives into the truths we're scared to face.